Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen, amma ba'd. So continuing with Bulugh al-Maram on hadith number 19. We mentioned عن أبي ثعلبة الخشني رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله إن بأرض قوم أهل كتاب أفنأكل في آنيتهم قال لا تأكلوا فيها إلا أن لا تجدوا غيرها فاغسلوها وكلوا فيها متفق عليه. So I mentioned this hadith that the Sahabi mentioned Tha'laba al-Khushani that he mentioned Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, we live in a land of the people of the book. Should we eat in their utensils? Do we share their utensils? Do we eat from their utensils? قال لا تأكلوا فيها. He said, don't eat in them unless you're not able to find other than them. If there's no other utensils, فاغسلوها. 19. فاغسلوها وكلوا فيها. It mentioned wash them and eat in them. So here, the prohibition of eating and drinking from the utensils of the people of the book, al-Yahud and Nasara, shows that eating from the utensils and drinking from the utensils of the mushrikeen is worse. Now, is worse than, because they are worse than the Ahlul Kitab. As for other than utensils, then no problem. The clothing and the likes, there's no issues with this. This prohibition on using their utensils is specific to their utensils. However, it shows there's permissibility if there's a need. If there's a need and they're not able to find any other utensils, with two conditions. As you're not able to find another alternative, and secondly, you wash it. So you wash it first. There's no alternative, and you wash it. Then you can eat from it now.
What is the sentence again from the qawaid, the
لا محذورة عند وجود الضرورة ولكن لا يطبق هنا. This is based on يعني استثناء ذكر الاستثناء. So you don't need to apply the qawaid because it's been mentioned. You see, so in the hadith, the Prophet mentioned the exemption. So to say there's a necessity, we don't actually need to even mention it. Why? The Prophet said already, if there's no alternative, then wash it and eat from it. Because هذا يعني تحافظ على أن يؤكل في آنيتهم ويشرب في يعني أوانهم ما يحرم أو ما يحرم استعماله. They eat within their utensils, drink within their utensils, that which is haram. Either ميتة والخنزير أو شرب الخمر. Either eating dead meat that's not been slaughtered, or eating swine, or drinking خمر. نعم. فهذا يعني تحافظ على اختلاط النجاسات والمحرمات. That preserves one from mixing the utensils and the likes with that which is haram, with that which has been prohibited. However, if you don't find an alternative, then the two conditions: one, you don't find an alternative; second, that you have to wash it. No. Yeah, even sitting there, you don't share one source of food from them, because you have to make sure it's been washed properly prior to the food being dished out. We're not talking about the meat. We're talking about the utensil. Now, not meat of Ahlul Kitab. We're talking about the utensils. What they eat in the plates, the cutlery, these things.
Buying from it is different as well.
Pardon?
Buying it is different as well.
What do you mean?
Buying from the utensils is that different?
No, if they sell utensils that haven't been used, this is talking about ones in. Have you go to a Christian's house, for example,
Oh, okay.
and they offer you food? Wash the spoon first. Wash the spoon that they give you. If you're not able to have your own spoon in your pocket or whatever, no.
So if you go to a restaurant and you order a drink that might have had alcohol in it before, what's the rule? Do you drink from?
Ideally, the cup should be washed. No, well, prior to drinking from that cup. But also, they would wash it as well. Now, but at the same time, ideally, one should avoid it. One should avoid it. Because the issue as well, in restaurants, especially the non-Muslim restaurants, they don't wash things properly. They just steam it or dip it in hot water and take it straight out. Glasses, they don't wash glasses like that. They just steam them, kind of thing. So, yeah. Or they have something, they press on it and then the water just splashes quick and comes out and they just leave it. That's it. How much times have you seen a cup in a shop and you just look at the glass itself, the amount of stains and stuff that's on it? No. So ideally it's best to go to places that don't sell alcohol and that which is halal. No.
أضعف الإيمان صحون أيكيا تعبانة صحون أيكيا ما ناكل فيها
لا نقصد ايكيا.
It's new.
يس لم يؤكل فيها ابدا.
لما ياكل فيها
نقصد شوف ايكيا مطعم.
اي
هذا شيء اخر.
حتى شكلها
نعم.
مو نظيف كذي
لازم تقيد الكلام بالمطعم. ما ذكرت المطعم.
لا قصة ما يعني احنا معناته احنا كمسلمين مطالبين قدر المستطاع نتجنب المطاعم اللي تبيع اكل غير حلال.
نعم.
أوكي.
هذا اولى.
انا من زمان في قولان
يعني في اذا كان هناك ما كان حلالا لكن المشكله في الاواني.
زي هم يغسلونها
نعم.
بالغسالات المعقمة.
Or you take, because some places you can take the dishes yourself and wash it first yourself. إذا كان هكذا يمكن. نعم. طيب. From this hadith also we learn جواز تبادل المنافع مع الكفار مما لا يترتب عليه محرما. The permissibility of exchanging things of benefit with the disbelievers, as long as there's nothing haram attached to it, as long as it's not involving anything that is prohibited. كذلك جواز مجاورة أهل الكتاب ومساكنتهم ما لم يترتب على ذلك ضرر في الدين. Also the permissibility to live as neighbors and live among the Ahlul Kitab as long as it does not come with harms to one's religion. As long as it does not bring about harm to one's religion. If it's the case, then the person should look into the ways of leaving to be among the Muslims within a local community or hijrah to a Muslim land. ومن توكل على الله Allah يسهل أو يسهل له الطريق. Whoever trusts in Allah, Allah makes the path easy for that person. Yeah.
Can you mention the first permissibility then, please?
The which? Say what again?
The first permissibility, so the hadith it mentions and you can deduce that. What's the first permissibility? So one is to live amongst the non-Muslims, there's no harm to the religion. The first one was
We also mentioned exchanging things of benefit. Exchanging things of benefit that doesn't come with anything which is haram. Right.
ما في فتوى ثانية أستاذ أسهل من هذا الرأي بخصوص الصحون؟ هل كل المشايخ أجمعوا ما ناكل في صحون المطاعم اللي تبيع أكل حرام؟
لا، ما قلنا هذا كلام. ما قلنا هذا كلام.
ما معنى بعد؟
قلنا الأواني أهل الكتاب.
أي
نعم. لابد أن تجد غيرها، وإلا لم يمكن غسلها.
صح، وأنا أروح المطعم أغسل صحني.
فخلاص اذهبي إلى مطعم مسلم.
لا يعني إحنا في بلاد كفار.
وهناك مطاعم مسلم هنا كثير.
هاي تعبانة هاي.
لا دعوة، يعني في دعوات في كثير إن شاء الله.
دعوات استغفر الله give him like the zero.
لا جيد.
Anyway
في
يعني
كثير there's many.
لا بشكل
شارع العرب أجوا رود خلاص many.
على فكرة ذولا أوسخ في المطابخ، وسخين،
لا
ما عندهم health and hygiene.
لا نقول هذا كلام. يعني إحسان الظن لابد.
لا والله ما ربي شفت بعيني محل.
لا ولكن هذا كلام غير لائق. المسلم إذا يعني من يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكن خيرا.
هذا يسمع.
هذا هو.
لا الشيء بالشيء يذكر.
لا. هل أنت دخلت في جميع المطابخ كل مطعم؟
أغلب.
لا.
أغلب.
يعني متى؟
المكتوب.
هل تشتغلين في المطبخ في الجميع؟
ماكدونالدز 3 سنين.
لا نتكلم عن ماكدونالدز، نتكلم عن هل مطاعم للمسلمين.
من الخارج وسخ.
لا
وسخة.
ما سألتك هذا السؤال. سؤالي واضح. هل كنت في مطابخ هذه المطاعم؟
نعم.
ومتى؟
قبل سنين كنت في مطعم.
لا، فلا نتكلم قبل السنين، أنا أقصد الآن حتى تتكلم فيهم، هذا لا يجوز أبدا. لا
يمسك.
لا، أنا أقول لك لا يجوز هذا الكلام. هذا كلام غير لائق.
الحديث الصحيح يعني الحين ينصحون المطاعم لما
هذا الحديث متفق عليه. إذا كان في مشكلة فامشي إلى المطاعم المسلمة خلاص.
يا حبيبي يا شيخي
لا نحتاج غير هذا.
أنا أقصد هل في فتوى أخرى؟
لا نحتاج الحديث واضح، ليس فتوى. هذا الحديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا لم تجدوا غيرها فاغسلوها وكلوا. هذا قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ليس فتوى. لا نحتاج فتوى، هذا واضح. أواني أهل الكتاب إذا لم نجد غيرها نغسلها ثم نأكل، إلا نمشي المطاعم المسلمين خلاص. الأمر سهل جدا.
عفوا أنا قلت وسخين، أنا أقصد في هالبلد، أنا ما أقصد في الدول العربية.
هل قلت بلد إسلامية؟
لا أنا حتى الملائكة تكتب علي الكلام، يصير بيني وبينك يوم القيامة شهود. وهذا
أنا أقول يعني هذا عام في كل مكان وزمان. هذا الكلام عام في كل زمان ومكان، لأن الدين نازل، الشريعة نازل في كل مكان وزمان. فهذا كلام واضح. يعني لست مضطرة أن تأكل في أي مطعم.
أنا فقط من باب الفقه، أنا أحب أتفقه.
لا، أنا أقول لك يعني هذا ليس من باب الفتوى، هذا من باب الحديث موجود يعني صريح. فالحكم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين، والعلة موجودة مفهومة من دلالة الألفاظ.
إذا هم يغسلونها معناته العلة.
لا، أنت مثلا إذا كنت في هذه الحال، نعم، وهناك يعني آنية من كافر، من نصراني أو يهودي، أنت تأكل في بيتهم.
لا ما في بيتهم.
هذا هو المقصود، يعني من أوانيهم هم، أو حتى في المطعم. نعم. أي مطعم،
واللحم حرام.
أي مطعم فيما هو حلال وحرام. نعم، لابد نطبق نفس القاعدة في الحقيقة. ولكن مثلا هنا عندنا يعني مركزات أو مراكز تراقب نظافة مطاعم مثلا، فلا بد هناك في يعني ضمان إلى حد ما، هناك درجة من نظافة لابد. نعم. ففي الغالب لا تجد شيئا، وإذا وجدت شيء في الآنية يعني ترد الطعام خلاص، هكذا. لكن الأمر يعني بسيط، لا تعمق يعني. هذا كما حصل عند موسى عليه السلام، ماذا قال؟ إن الله يأمركم أن تذبحوا بقرة.
ما لونها؟
بدأوا يعني تساؤلات، فشدد الأمر فشدد الله عليهم. فيعني كثرة المسائل يضيق الصدر. مثلا تضع نفسك في حرج.
وضعتني من
لا، أنا لم أضعك في أي مكان.
من الجلد، من يوم تكلمت عن الجلد وأنا صاير لي وسواس.
سنعيد الكلام في الجد الآن.
جبتي وسواس وأنا أصلا عندي وسواس قهري.
علاج الوسواس عدم الالتفات إلى الوسواس.
وسوستني، ما أتعرف شو ألبس، شو أشتري، شو أسوي، وسوسني يا شيخ.
طيب إذا كنت مصاب بالوسواس القهري لا يجوز لك سؤال.
خلني على عماي، اي والله خلني هيك
ما في سؤال أبدا. شفاء عدم السؤال.
ما أقدر.
طيب خلاص, just start walking with portable plates that you can fold out. Someone invented, mashallah. Fold out plates. If you want to go to a restaurant that's not Muslim, have your own plates and say, look, everything's acceptable today anyway in this place.
لا
نعم.
تدري نشتري صحون الفلين from Puntland, we put in the top of them a plate. أنا الحين بسوي كذي.
لكن نعم لا تصعب. طيب, next hadith it mentions عن عمران بن حسين أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه توضأوا من مزادة امرأة مشركة متفق عليه في حديث طويل. هذا في الجلد. It mentioned a person عن عمران بن حسين أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه توضأوا من مزادة امرأة مشركة متفق عليه. ما عندك الحديث؟ What do you have? لا 20. عن ابن عباس في بلوغ مرام. عجيب. وعن إمران.
It does say the hadith is longer.
What's the wording of the hadith that you have? ولكن قد يكون حديث رقم مختلف عندك. Check 25. نعم. In some Arabic copies, the number of the hadith is different. نعم. So in the Arabic copy you have, in this copy, even in the one that Sheikh Uthaymeen's explanation is different. It will be 21. But in Sheikh Al-Barraq's explanation is 25. So mention, and this is a portion of the hadith now. Because Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, when he mentioned these ahadith, it was min bab al-hukm, to give you the ruling. So he mentioned the shahid of the hadith, the main point of reference within the hadith. So he mentioned that the Prophet Muhammad and his companions, they performed wudu from an animal hide water container that belonged to a mushrika, a woman that was from the mushrikeen, not even Ahlul Kitab. It was from the idol worshippers.
It's okay because دبغ الجلد اندبغ يا أستاذ.
هذا هو. The only thing Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah mentioned, it would have been better had Ibn Hajar mentioned this hadith before, with the hadith of on the hadith of An Salama. After that hadith, it would have been better if he mentioned this hadith 2 hadiths ago. Naam, that he mentioned this hadith because it's the same hukum. As for the awani, that was specific, but as for this as well, it goes back to dibagh, the tanning. So the situation here, as a mushrik, do you think they would have slaughtered that meat that they made the container from? La. Naam. So it would have been najis, meita. ولكن in the dibagh, tahur. When it was tanned, it becomes pure. Naam. Pure to use. Naam. Because we mentioned before, if it was not pure, it was from the animals that are not to be eaten, even if they're slaughtered, they cannot be eaten. Naam. Then it wouldn't be allowed to have a sa'il. Faqat al-yabis, you only have dry stuff in it. But water is what? It's not dry. So that shows that this was from an animal that if it was slaughtered, it was allowed to be eaten. Naam. So the animal hide that she had used as a vessel for water, even though it was from carrion meat, it was purified by tanning, which shows it was from the ma'kulat. It was that which was allowed to be eaten either dhubih, if it was slaughtered. Because in summary, what we mentioned about the animal hide, if an animal is dead, then, and it hasn't been slaughtered, then it's najis, haram. Now it's impure. However, the skin, the hide of the animal can be purified with tanning. And that's if it's an animal that is eaten if it's slaughtered. As for that which is not eaten, even if it's slaughtered, then it can only be used for dry things. Because it's not pure, it's najis. It can only be used to store that which is dry and will not be affected by the najasa. So this situation, from this we know that the animal hide used to contain this water, to store this water, was from that which was, if it was slaughtered, it would be halal to eat. Because there was storing water in it. Now, also shows that we are allowed to use the containers of the kuffar as long as they are pure. As long as they are pure. Also, when they allowed her to use, because within the story, they needed to find water, wanted to drink, to make wudu. One of the Sahaba in the state of Janaba, she was the only one who had water. Naam. And when she gave them water, the Prophet said, فَجْمَعُوا لَهَا, and they gathered different things, they gave her different things as a recompense. So it also shows that you're allowed to do goodness towards the kuffar that are not those who are at war with you. لا يجوز إحسان كافر الحربي. You don't do goodness to a kafir that is at war with you. لا. لا. The last hadith we will mention today, and Anas ibn Malik رضي الله عنه أن قدح النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم انكسر فاتخذ مكان الشعب سلسلة من فضة نعم أخرجه البخاري. So I mentioned within this hadith, when the cup of the Prophet broke, he fixed it with a silver wire, a wire that was made of silver, نعم, to fix where it was cracked. And that was narrated by Bukhari. We mentioned previously لا يجوز الأكل والشرب شرب من
الفضة
الفضة والذهب. Now, it's not permissible to eat or drink from gold or silver. However, يجوز استعمال الآنية مضببة بالفضة يعني إذا كان يسيرا. It's permissible to use those utensils that have been repaired with silver as long as it's only a small amount. It's a small amount.
لأن الأصل مش فضة.
نعم الأصل مش يعني نعم. Also, this kind of cup is something that a person needs, within the needs of mankind. And also shows the humility of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He didn't have much belongings of the worldly life. Like now, if we go to our cupboard, check how much cups you have and plates you have. If one breaks, you just sweep it up and throw it in the bin. You don't even think about repairing it. No. But as for the type of person, they only had that which they needed. They didn't have za'id. No. Also, it shows إصلاح ما يفسد من متاع البيت, repairing that which breaks from the possessions of the household. No. So that it shows the permissibility of using a small amount of silver to fix a crack or any form of breaking in your utensils if the need arises. Also, it shows حفظ المال بإصلاح ما فسد منه. It shows preservation of wealth by repairing that which is broken. Not just always buying brand new. Trying to fix it first. You fix it. If you can't fix it, it doesn't benefit from being fixed. Then look into purchasing something new. Just silver.
What shoes is that specific?
So again,
What shoes is that specific silver?
the mention of the hadith that he mentioned only silver. Min fiddatin. I mentioned there's no qiyas on gold because gold is way more expensive. Now,
Is this hadith
and what it mentioned, when it comes to qiyas, you make qiyas of something that's very similar. But even though gold and silver are both valuable, they are very far away from each other. Now,
is this hadith only specific to repairs?
yes. Repairing something that, no. And that's when there's a need to do so. If the need arises, no. If the need arises. But if you buy a cup for £1, you don't need to repair that with silver. You understand? That is not going to be repaired with silver. You're going to get another cup. Because the value is nowhere near the likes of that. No.
In general, in the West, it's easier to get a new item rather than repairing the
Yeah, if it's less than repairing, then there's no problem in that. That's why I mentioned with the cup. For example, cups now for us, you can get like a pack of 4 cups for £1 in some places. Cups are very cheap. But again, this might have been a specific type of cup. That it was cheaper to use silver to repair the crack than to get a whole new cup. No. And also shows that silver was of those things that was used to repair utensils.
أنا عندي سؤال أستاذ.
من وسوس؟
لا الأسنان.
No.
أعتقد جائز للرجل يركب فضة مثل ذاك الرجل انكسر خشمه والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أباح له يركب خشم من ذهب.
نعم.
إذا يجوز للرجل يركب السن من فضة أو من ذهب في حالة لم يتوفر له البديل كعلاج.
يعني ممكن الذهب، لا فضة، لا أدري عن الذهب، لا أدري فعلا،
على الفضة يجوز؟
لا أدري.
بعد لا تدري. يعجبني تفكيرك، خاف تفتي. مضبوط؟
أنا لا أفتي أبدا.
نعم نعم مضبوط، أحسن أحسن.
ف
مبلغ.
نعم، نكتفي بهذا إن شاء الله. We'll stop the lab and do أصول الفقه إن شاء الله.